Good day. My name is Heinrich Ferreira, and today I'm going to introduce you to more of the features of the Visual Genome Browser. Let's start off by double clicking on the icon on the desktop. It will open the default view, which is the sequence view. And in this view, there are a bunch of buttons on the left that allows you to collapse certain panels. You can make the top panel bigger, you can make the bottom panel bigger, or you could use a full screen mode. So let's say we want to use full screen mode. When you click on this button, it expands to allow you to easily navigate the main genome view as well as the zoomed in gene view. This zoomed in gene view can go from magnification of 2 to magnification of 20, and you use the mouse button to zoom in and zoom out. If you click the full screen button again, then it restores it to the default mode. And if you now look at what happens to this scale over here when you zoom in and zoom out, you can see that you can also zoom in by clicking this control over here, the up and down. If you want to collapse the middle panel and let the top panel fill its space, you click on this button, which will give you uh, more of a view of the zoom DNA view. If you click it again, then it restores it. If you click on this one, then it will collapse the middle panel, but it will allocate that space to the bottom main genome view. If you click it again, it will restore it. And then there's also the option of totally removing this bottom view by clicking on this button. This allows you to totally focus on the zoom DNA view. Now in the zoom DNA view, you could also use the mouse wheel to zoom in, make it become bigger. And as you do that, in this box over here, you can see the width is actually decreasing, meaning the number of bases on each line of the DNA is becoming less and less. You could also type a number in here. Let's say we want to make it 171. Then it immediately goes up to 171. I always like to use this example because 171 seem to be the number of bases between each repeat of the SNP protein DNA, the DNA that binds to the SNP histone in the centromere region of the DNA. And that means that if we go to the centromere region and you just double click in here, you could see this nice repeat pattern of the satellite repeats appearing. And then if you are in this view, you can actually use the square brackets to change the number of bases, which you can see changing over here. Anywhere that you click in the centromere area, you get a different pattern. If you want to just let the zoom in DNA view move while you move the mouse in here, you can click this checkbox at the top, and that allows you to quickly navigate to a specific spot in a genome. For example, as I said previously, the main genome view is a representation of the GC content in the genome at a specific location. So let's say we want to look at this spot on the left where I've positioned my mouse. It's quite difficult to move to a different view when you've got it in this slide over mode. So you have to uncheck that and then move the mouse to where you want to position it and then double click. What you could do then is you could further zoom on the panel on the right in the zoom gene view to position it at a specific spot. Let's say where the green band is most brightest. And then you could zoom in on the zoomed in DNA view, or you could make this much quicker, much faster, make it 20. And then you could see that there are a lot of GC bases in this area. As I change the width of this view with my mouse, you could also see this repeating patterns in here. When we go to an area of the genome that is quite dark, it means there are a lot of A's and T's as opposed to G's and C's. So for example, if I double click here, on the right you can see it's quite dark, but there are still dark green lines. And then in a zoomed DNA view, you could see that it's mostly made up of A's and T's with a few G's and C's between it. So far we've just looked at a GC structure of the genome. Then there's also this is the main genome view. Just right to the right of it you get the chromosomes view. And this shows you an even further zoomed out representation of the entire genome and all the chromosomes in a genome. And again, you could move the mouse over this and it will update the zoomed in DNA view on at the top. So if you want to quickly jump to a different chromosome, let's say we want to go to chromosome 17 here near the end of the long arm, you just click there. It then loads chromosome 17. You can see here at the top that it's chromosome 17, and then that allows you to quickly move the slider up and down to the desired spot. Again, we have a centromere. If you double click in here, make the width close to 171, you see a definite pattern appearing. But again, this pattern is slightly different. Every single spot it is different. But there's definitely a repeating pattern of 171.